Number one, tickets go on sale tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. So these are individual game tickets. You can go on goaztecs.com. You can find out all the information for yourself, but they start at 9 o'clock tomorrow, and if you remember last year, one of the toughest tickets to come by in a long, long time. So they go on sale 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. GoAztecs.com, or you can go to Qualcomm Stadium, and again, all the information's online. Number two, this Friday they have an open practice that starts at 5 p.m. It's open to the public. I think it's free to get in, though I'm not 100% sure. And then November 2nd, Cal State San Marcos, the college basketball season begins for San Diego State. And it cannot come here soon enough because these weeks are about to really drag without any World Series and no NBA. We go out to the Corky's hotline. It's Brian Dutcher, assistant head coach at San Diego State. Dutch, always a pleasure. Darren Smith, thank you very much for a couple minutes.
It's great to be back with you, Darren.
I appreciate it. How was your off season?
Busy as always. You know, you just get worried when you lose all the players you lose, so it's building the next year's team, and it involves recruiting. It involves getting the players we have better and getting focused for this season.
When you're going through last year, which obviously was magical and unprecedented at San Diego State, how much time are you, Steve Fisher, the entire coaching staff, how much are you thinking about the future, about who's going to play what role when you guys get to 2011, 2012?
As soon as last year ended, it ended. You know, they always say stop and smell the roses, but when you're coaching and you're worried about being good and continuing the success you've had, that next year started from the day we lost to Connecticut.
That was it. So do you ever think about it during the run, though? Do you ever maybe elbow a guy or two here or there and, you know, maybe a Tapley, Rayhan and say, hey, you know, next year you're going to be one of these guys that we're counting on?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we watch tape, like today we watched some tape on how we defended ball screens from last year, and you just put a smile on your face and say, what a special team that was. But then you say, how are we going to duplicate that? How are we going to be close to that? And what do we have to do to improve to get to that level? And so you enjoy looking back, but you say, how can we achieve that again?
All right. Well, how are you going to achieve that again?
Well, recruiting, coaching, scheduling. I mean, it's a whole new group. That's the beauty of college athletics. You know, when you're the pros team, you've got Phillip Rivers and he's your quarterback for a decade, and you say there's great comfort in having that. But in college athletics, these kids run through the program, they graduate, they move on to opportunities, and you're always rebuilding. There is no sitting and saying we have this one guy that's going to anchor our team for a decade. And that's the beauty of college athletics. It's always new, it's refreshing, it's building from scratch. Every couple of years, and that's the enjoyable part of it.
We're talking to Brian Dutcher on XX1090. San Diego State college basketball tickets go on sale tomorrow, 9 o'clock in the morning. GoAztecs.com if you want more info, how you can track them down. Yeah, I would think, too, how does your team embrace that challenge of not only of replacing the guys who are no longer part of the program?
I think they're engaged in practice. They want to be good. They don't want to fall off from where they were. But there's a reality that we're breaking some new players in that the beauty of last year's team is we returned 5 starters. And so we kind of knew where we were at the start of the year. Here we're replacing 3 and 4 starters, and everybody's trying to find their niche. They're trying to find what they have to do to help us be successful. And it's not always scoring, obviously. It's who's going to be Malcolm Thomas, who's going to block those shots or give late help when someone breaks down on the perimeter defensively. And who's going to make the big shot when DJ gets the ball? Who's going to get the ball in their hands and without a timeout and make a play to help us win a game? And so we get that through practice. We get that through our exhibition games and preseason, and we're going to find out as we go. I mean, it's easy to sit in the office and say this is going to be the guy, but until he does it in a game situation, nothing's proven.
Brian Dutcher on XX1090. How much different is it going out on the road and recruiting as a member of the San Diego State coaching staff now versus where you were a few years ago?
When we started the program, we were selling the dream, selling the vision, and nothing had been done yet. Now we're selling reality. What we've done, you can come in and achieve some similar success to what we've had. You can beat Kawhi Leonard. You don't have to go to UCLA to be a primetime player, an All-American, and make it to the NBA. So we're selling reality now, which always is easier to sell than the vision. So recruiting is easier, but I always laugh at people saying, boy, now that you've had this success, you're really going to be able to get good players. And I laugh because we had players that won 34 games last year. So we've had good players. Maybe they're not as recognized nationally, but we've done a good job of evaluating talent, maybe not getting as high-ranked kid, but getting the better player in the long run.
So you feel, though, like you're an established program. I mean, San Diego State is on the scene.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we've had 7 straight 20-plus win seasons. Mm-hmm. So as great as last year's team was, we've set school record for wins over 2 of the last 3 years. So we've had a good run, and now it's just continuing to build on that success.
Right. You know, I was thinking about that, too, because a lot of people thought, all right, well, San Diego, it was nice while it lasted, the Heath Slaughter Aztec years. And then people wondered, well, okay, maybe that was a bit of a missed opportunity, a chance for them to get the first NCAA win. But you guys came back actually stronger. I mean, is there a chance that you guys can come back stronger? I know it's tough. I mean, you guys set a program record, but you feel like it's still the turnstile is still active there at San Diego State.
Absolutely. I mean, if it's not this year, it's continuing to build for the years to come. I mean, we have 2 seniors on this year's team, Garrett Green, who just got here, and Tim Shelton. And we've got 2 players sitting. We continue to recruit. So by no means are we saying this year's not going to be good. But we're in another stretch where maybe it's going to be another good 2 or 3 year run where we have veteran players. And the teams that are picked to win the league this year, UNLV and New Mexico, they're picked because they have the most returning players. They have a veteran team. So I see a lot of the polls, we're picked 3rd, but we're breaking in a lot of new players. So there's nothing better than having veterans back. So our biggest challenge is to get these kids up to game speed as quickly as we can.
We're talking to Brian Dutcher on XX1090, associate head coach in waiting, the official title. Is that on your business card, by the way?
I tried to put it on there, but it wouldn't all fit. So.
All right, fair enough. How much of a blow was it for you guys, NCAA-wise, with Carwell not being eligible?
We would have loved to have Brian, and it's a little bit frustrating because what we were appealing was the fact that he had a concussion when he was at Illinois, and he had severe brain trauma from a car accident, and the hot-button topic around the nation is concussions, whether it's the NFL, college athletics, and to get rejected on a plea that he had a concussion that cost him basically 2 years was very frustrating. But we've moved beyond that. Obviously, we would have loved to have him, but we can't sit there and dwell over the fact we don't. We have to get the guys that we have ready to play, and we're going to get Garrett Green, who we were fortunate to get from LSU, a 6'11" transfer that's eligible instantly, get him game ready, and get Deshaun Stevens, our new junior college big man, ready to play, and they've got to be the guys.
What about Poli?
Poli, we haven't even got the appeal in yet. We're still waiting on some late information. That these appeals, they have to be very detailed. We have to have medical records. We have to have letters from St. John's supporting our efforts. Coach Fisher does a letter. Dwayne does a letter. His parents do letters. And then we need medical records. And so when it gets in, it won't be long, but I'd say we're probably a day or 2 from turning it in, and then I would expect maybe a 5 to 7 day turnaround before it's ruled on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was a little bummed out about losing Poli from my alma mater. I don't know how you got him out there. I know there's some family stuff with Poli, but that's the one thing I've said to everybody out here. Obviously, I pay a lot of attention to St. John's basketball. He's a talented young kid.
Yeah, I think he started darn near every game for him last year, and for us to have him sitting this year or playing this year, we're going to benefit from that. And he's a wonderful player and a better person, and we think he's going to be a fan favorite when he gets on the floor for the Aztecs.
You know what's funny about him too, and I think that was such a statement because here he is, a guy who's going to leave. He's going to leave a Big East school. He's going to leave a New York City school. He's from Los Angeles. You would say, well, I don't know every other coach. I don't know every other team situation who had room for somebody like that and who didn't. But he chose you guys, right? I mean, how does something like that even happen where he decides he's going to transfer out of St. John's and he lands at San Diego State?
Well, because of the success we've had, Darren, and because of the success we've had with transfers. And what better role model for him than Tony Bland, who went to the same high school, was a starter at Syracuse, transferred back to San Diego State, and was a great player for us. So we've had a great tradition of bringing in transfers that have had great runs for us. Malcolm Thomas from Pepperdine, James Rahan from Santa Clara. We've had a number of transfers that have been fantastic players for the Aztecs.
Yeah. How does he get on your radar screen? I mean, is it one of those where you find out through the grapevine, through college basketball circles that he wants to leave?
Absolutely. There starts to be a buzz that people are interested in leaving programs, and whether it's a high school coach, an AAU coach, probing to find out if there's an interest. Obviously, we can't do anything until we get a release from that school. Until the young man goes in and says he doesn't want to go back to St. John's, then they grant him a release, and then he can contact other schools. But until he gets his release, it's not like you recruit players from those schools. You just monitor, and then when the situation presents itself, if you have the money, you go after and you recruit them at that point.
We're talking to Brian Dutcher on XX1090. San Diego State individual game tickets go on sale tomorrow morning. GoAztecs.com. Do you know who your starting five is today?
I know who mine is, but I don't know who Coach Fisher's is. So it doesn't much matter who mine is. So, no, we're scrimmaging. We'll play the exhibition games, try to play guys equal minutes, and see who shows that they should be out there in a starting role. And this may be a team early in the season, and we adjust starting lineups until we find out who's best off the bench, who's best as a starter. And Coach is not one to mess with the lineup a whole lot. He'll try to get one out there that he feels is solid and be consistent with those guys.
I would think there's a certain element of excitement about that, too, because you actually get to, like you said, last year everybody wants 5 returning starters. It's just not reality. But I would think from a coaching standpoint, it's got to be pretty exciting to know guys can go out there and compete for a starting job.
Absolutely. It makes practice more competitive because there are open spots and people are fighting to claim them. So it's not like, well, Kawhi's back, I can't get that spot, or Malcolm's back, or DJ's back, or Billy's back. There's spots open. So it's open competition, and that makes for better practices.
Speaking of Kawhi Leonard, have you had a chance to speak with him?
Yeah, Kawhi's still in town. He comes by, does some shooting at San Diego State. He does his weightlifting in town, and he's training. But obviously with the lockout, he's not where he wants to be right now. He wants to be in a training camp and getting ready for his first NBA season, but he looks fantastic.
Does he ever express any regret whatsoever about making this decision? Because let's face it, I mean, that is a very, very uncertain situation in the NBA.
Yeah, I think there would have been regret had he not been drafted early or was a second-round pick. But, where he was drafted, number 15, and to get a chance to play with the San Antonio Spurs, I think it's just an exciting time for him. Obviously, he wished he was on the floor, and it will be harder for him the longer the lockout goes, and to watch his Aztecs on the floor, thinking maybe I could help them. But I don't think he regrets the decision at all and where he was drafted and the opportunity he's been given.
Yeah, like I said, I just hope he plays. I mean, if you're going to make a decision like that, you just hope he gets to play. I mean, if they cancel that whole season, that's just going to be a really tough situation for him and all the underclassmen that decided to go.
Yeah, it'd be very hard. And, the other side of the coin is, what if he stepped out, played this year, and got a severe injury and cost himself an opportunity to get some guaranteed money when they do go back. So, there's always different ways to look at it. We're happy for Kawhi. We think, he did something no other Aztec has done since we've been here, and that was be a first-round draft pick in the NBA. So we're excited for his opportunity.
Last question, how much different does it look? I know it's just on paper, but when you look at the Mountain West Conference, it's going to look a little bit different here. No BYU, no Utah, an 8-team league right now, Boise State in. How different does the conference look?
Well, it looks a lot different. Obviously, we're going to miss Utah and BYU. They were both, tradition-rich basketball programs. We've been here 12 years. We won one time in Provo. So, obviously, those are hard places to play. And but we play the schools, obviously, they put in front of us. We have a challenging schedule this year. Maybe as hard an 8-game stretch in the non-conference as we've ever had.
And you're talking, the Baylor, USC, Arizona?
Yeah, it goes at Baylor, USC at home, at Long Beach State, or home against Long Beach State, who will be picked to win their league, at Arizona, at Santa Barbara, who, along with Long Beach, will be picked to win the league, Creighton at home, who will be picked to win the league, and then Cal Berkeley, who's going to be ranked this year. So you look at those 8 games in a row, and it's as challenging as we've ever had. And then you throw, at the end of that, the University of San Diego on their home floor in the city rivalry. That's always a challenging game. no matter what it's been in the past.
Well, you guys are pulling a little bit of a Syracuse, though. I mean, you guys do have an awful lot of teams pretty close to home here. What is it, like 8 out of your first 9 are played at Viejas?
Yeah, we're playing at home, which is great for a young team or a team in transition to not have to go on the road and be in a hostile environment. And we have the greatest home court advantage in the West Coast. I mean, if you were at a game of Viejas last year, many of the listeners were, there's no better college environment on the West Coast than what we had at Viejas. And we're excited to get the fans back in the seats and get that home court advantage again.
Well, I can tell you that because I went up to UCLA and saw them play. It was dead as a doornail compared to what you guys had cooking there last year. Tickets go on sale 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. You like that, though? You're taking a page out of Boeheim's book. You guys aren't straying far from home early on.
No, not straying far from home. And an interesting thing, Darren, is that we averaged more in attendance than USC and UCLA combined last year.
Is that right?
Then combined, I think USC averaged 4, UCLA averaged 7, and we averaged 12. So, I mean, we're the hottest ticket in California right now.
When are you guys going to raise the banner? You guys, I'm sure, are going to raise a banner inside the arena, right?
Absolutely, and I'm not sure which game it'll be. I'm sure it's set, but it'll be a special moment to look up there and see another conference banner for regular season and conference tournament banners being hung up in the Viejas rafters.
Coach, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Excited it's getting started here soon.
Thanks, Darren.
Appreciate it. Brian Dutcher on Double X 1090.